Yo guys, welcome back. Today we'll be covering the top 4 meta guns in Season 2, Episode 2, along with some honorable mentions at the end. The big 4 will be A-TAMS, the Last Dagger, Malevolent, and Albion Cavalry. I will go over builds for all relevant endgame content with these guns, including Tormentor, Purge 30, and Purge Challenge 35 if anyone cares. And we will go over some mod swaps depending on which Descendant may be using the weapon. And if you are looking for specific build guides for each Descendant, I will have all my most up-to-date guides in the description. If you're interested in seeing builds like these put together, or have any questions you would like to ask me about TFD, please come by Twitch. I am live every day. We have an awesome community. We'd love for all of you to be a part of it. With that out of the way, let's get into it. So let's start off with what we could say is the most broken gun in the game, and that is going to be our A-TAMS. I have 2 A-TAMS. We'll go over the toxic setup A-TAMS first that I use for Tormentor. So for your cores, you're going to want Toxic Attack with Fire and Critical Hit Damage. Your 2 utility mods don't really matter too much. And then your bottom mod, we're not fighting a faction here, so there's no need to even roll that. As far as your substats, you want Toxic Attack, Fire and Critical Hit Damage, Firearm Attack, and Weak Point Damage. Now going into our cores, this is going to be a Toxic setup. So we are using Toxic Gun Barrel with Toxic Enhancement. We're also using Weak Point Expansion. We're using 3 firearm attack mods, being Action and Reaction, Rifling Reinforcement, and Charge Amplification. For our weak point mods, we have Weak Point Sight and Focus Fire. And for our firearm critical hit damage, Better Concentration. And then we are using Edging Shot for the firearm critical hit rate. Now, this goes for every Descendant besides Blair and Valby. If you are going to use Blair and Valby, you are going to want to use Better Insight. Now, if you're going to use Haley, you do not need any firearm critical hit rate. So you're able to replace that mod with Toxic Circulation. So now we're going to go over our A-TAMS, which is set up for Chill, which is specifically set up to fight Greg at the end of Purge 30. So we have rolled Chill Attack for our first core, Firearm Critical Hit Damage, and bonus Firearm Attack versus Legion of Darkness. And for our substats, we're going with Chill Attack, Firearm Critical Hit Damage, Firearm Attack, and for our last one, you can either do bonus Firearm Attack versus Legion of Darkness, or you can do Weak Point Damage. I just did not continue to want to roll my substats because of my shortage on Legos most of the time. And as far as the mods, pretty much everything here is the same. We have switched Toxic to Chill, clearly, but we have dropped our second Weak Point mod for Better Insight, which is going to give us a 90% critical hit rate here. The reason for this is because when you're fighting Tormentor, you load in, and even if you don't crit, you'll basically kill him into 3 shots. But with this, you're having to fight your way all the way through Purge to get to Greg. So just having the better critical hit chance, it just works out better than having the 70-ish% that you have with Better Insight off. So let's get into our last daggers. I have just a few of these. Firstly, we'll cover the one for Tormentor, where you're going to go with Toxic Attack, 2 firearm attack cores, 2 fire rate cores, firearm critical hit rate, firearm attack, firearm critical hit damage with weak point damage. So let's start to get into our mod setups. This one is going to be for Glay, for Tormentor, and we're going to be using Mental Focus with Ultra Precision Strike. So you can build up your mental focus before the fight starts. You're going to have your 2 toxic mods, your 2 weak point mods with Weak Point Sight, have aiming, your 2 firearm critical hit damage mods with concentration priority and Better Concentration, fire rate up with Action and Reaction. Now for the setup with Serena for Last Dagger versus Tormentor, it's going to be a little different. We are still rocking a few of the same mods. We are now using Fiery Fiesta in the place of Mental Focus, and we are using Tenacious Hunter in the place of Ultra Precision Strike. Tenacious Hunter is going to be when reloading, weak point damage is increased by 5%. When you attack a weak point, and Firing Fiesta is because this gun is only going to have 12 shots, and you're going to need a bit more than 12 shots to get the kill. Other than that, everything is basically the same. We have our 2 weak point mods, our 2 toxic mods, our 2 fire and critical hit damage mods, fire rate up with Action and Reaction. Now, onto our dagger that I set up for Purge 35, which I feel like a lot of people aren't really going to be interested in this because there's no reason to farm it, sadly, but we'll go over it anyway. We've gone with Toxic Attack, 2 firearm attack cores, 2 rounds per magazine cores, and then on your substats, firearm critical hit damage with bonus firearm attack versus Legion of Mortality, firearm attack, and weak point damage. As far as our mod setup, we're using Firing Fiesta. You do not have to use this. I use this for pure comfort, for not having to worry about reloading, basically. You can go with Sweeping Squad if you would like. This gun is set up for pure comfort and just being able to shoot without having to worry about anything. Doesn't really matter who you're playing with. We have our 2 Toxic Element mods with Toxic Enhancement and Poison Priority. We're using Insight Focus, which is going to give us just enough critical hit rate. Our 2 Firearm Critical Hit Damage mods. Our 2 Firearm Attack mods, Fire Rate Up, and then Toxic Circulation, which is going to be in the place of Overwhelm, which we would normally use on Purge 30. And now for our Purge 30 setup, something we've seen many times on this channel. We have our Chill Attack Core, our 2 Firearm Attack Cores, our 2 rounds per magazine cores. You do not have to go with both of these. You can do rounds per magazine and Fire Rate Up split, but I prefer the comfort of just having rounds per magazine and just having the ability to shoot constantly, which is why we're still using Firing Fiesta on this. Weak point damage, Firearm Attack, Firearm Critical Hit Damage, and Chill Attack for our substats. And for your mods, we are using Firing Fiesta with Overwhelm because we were fighting Legion of Darkness, and they match the affinity of this gun. We have our 2 Chill Cores, our 2 Firearm Attack Cores, our 2 Firearm Critical Hit Damage Cores, Fire Rate Up, and like I said, Firing Fiesta is there for pure comfort. And now we have our Albion Cavalry, which is one of the top guns on the game. I don't think a lot of people realize how good this gun is. I only have one set up just for chill for Purge 30. You're going to go with your 2 Fire Rate Cores, your 2 Chill Attack Cores, your Firearm Critical Hit Rate Core when you are not using Haley. If you're using Haley, you want to use Firearm Critical Hit Damage. And for your substats, you're going to have Firearm Attack, Firearm Critical Hit Damage, Chill Attack, and Firearm Critical Hit Rate. Once again, if you're using Haley, you're going to want to turn that crit rate into Legion of Darkness or whatever faction you will be fighting. You will be picking that one. As far as your mods, this is a Sweeping Squad setup. We are using the 2 Chill mods with Chill Enhancement, Chill Priority. Our 2 Firearm Critical Hit Damage mods with better concentration, Concentration Priority. We have better Insight and Edging Shot, Fire Rate Up, and our 2 Firearm Attack mods. And like I said, if you're going to be using Haley, we do not need all that Firearm Critical Hit Rate, so you're going to be taking out better Insight and Edging Shot. You could put in an Insight Focus and then replace Edging Shot with Expand Weapon Charge, which is going to give you a nice big mag for her. She still works very well in Purge 30 with this gun, and this gun absolutely blasts Purge 30 in general. And now for the 4th weapon of our top lineup before we get to our honorable mentions is going to be Malevolent. This gun is just all around really, really good. If you need to do Purge Challenge 31 to 35, you could pretty much do it on any Descendant with this gun and one particular mod that we have slotted in, which I'll be showing, which has changed from some of the other builds I put out for this gun before. As far as your substats, you're going to go to Chill Attack, 2 Fire Rate, and Firearm Attack. Obviously, you're going to want to match your element to what you're fighting. And for your substats, Firearm Attack, rounds per magazine, Chill Attack, and bonus Firearm Attack versus Legion of Darkness. Same thing as the cores. If you're going to be taking this into Purge with Toxic stages, you're going to want to switch to Legion of Immortality and Toxic Attack. And now for your mods. Now, the one mod that has changed here is we have put in Payout. When landing a firearm weak point attack, rounds are not consumed for 3 seconds. This is very, very nice when you're fighting and the enemies are frozen, particularly in Purge 30, but basically anywhere, you just get that one headshot and you're going to get 3 seconds of free ammo. It really takes this gun to the next level. As far as the other mods, we have our 2 Firearm Attack mods. We have Charge Amplification for our 3rd. We are going with our Element mod. So here we're going to have Chill Enhancement, Chill Priority, Chill Circulation. We're doing Expand Weapon Charge for the bigger magazine, and then Fire Rate Up. And of course, something very, very important is you're going to want to make sure you have this selected for when you are using this gun. This is a game changer when using this gun. It's going to bring the number of bladed cogs created +2. Just takes this gun to the next level. One of the best guns for the game right now. So let's get into 3 honorable mentions here. And the first one's going to be Restored Relic. Now, this is specifically great with Glay, just because you do not run out of ammo, but this can be used on Serena very efficiently, specifically when you have an Enzo with you, just providing you with ammo the whole time. You just fly in the air, he gives you the ammo, and you're just an up in the sky bombarder. But if you do not have an Enzo to play with Serena, it's just not as great. You can still carry this as a utility weapon. For your cores, you're going to want 3 fire rate cores, your chill attack cores ×2, and for your substats, chill attack, explosive attack, bonus firearm attack versus Legion of Darkness, and firearm critical hit damage. Like usual, change your element and your faction to what you're fighting. And as far as your setup, we're using 2 explosive attack mods here, our firearm critical hit damage mods, better insight. Then we're using our element mods here. We're using chill, fire rate up, and then increased radius. And one other thing to mention, along with other guns that I have listed here, you're going to want to be using Shell Crusher memory and Shell Crusher processor for the plus 5% fire rate. Now we can take a look at Greg's, something I have not fully built, but this gun definitely rips, and I wouldn't be surprised. This gun is pretty good when Ice Maiden comes into the game. We have rolled this with 3 fire rate cores, firearm attack, and as far as your last core, it's just faction. So if you're fighting a faction, you can go with that. But I specifically have mine set up for Colossus right now. And for your substats, firearm attack with firearm critical hit damage, weak point damage because the bombardments do scale off of weak point damage, and then bonus firearm attack versus Colossus. Now for our module setup, we are going with Fire Conductor as our special mod. And then we have Fire Enhancement. We have our 2 firearm attack mods. We have our 2 weak point mods. As I said, the bombardments scale off of weak point hits, so you specifically want those. You have concentration priority with better concentration, better insight, and fire rate up. This gun shreds, and we'll just have to see what it does when Ice Maiden rolls in. And this is another gun that could be specifically good for Ice Maiden. A good gun right now, but just outclassed by the 4 guns that I basically shown at the start of the video. This is specifically good for Serena. For your cores, you're going to want 2 firearm attack cores and 2 fire rate cores. I just happen to have sprint speed there. I've not fully built this yet. I have just preset it up for what's to come. And for your substats, firearm attack with weak point, fire attack, and depending what you're doing, you can match with the faction or you can go with Colossus damage. Now, as far as the mods, I have kept this set up for fire, specifically for the chances that it will be good against Ice Maiden. So we are using our fire element mods. We have our firearm attack mods with action and reaction and charge amplification. We have fire rate up, have aiming, and then we are actually using multi-hit mods here with multi-hit piercing sights and multi-percussion sight and multi-hit induction. And then we have ultra precision strike. This is set up specifically for fighting Colossus with the hopes that it might be viable versus Ice Maiden. And that covers everything for the updated meta weapons build guide. Any questions or suggestions about the builds, let me know in the comments or stop by Twitch and I'm live. You can also always find me in my Discord. We are close to 1K Discord members. We truly have the best community for TFD. Links can be found in the description. Thanks, guys. Peace.